Hello and welcome to the fourth lecture for the CompTIA Security Plus 601 exam. Let's get started. Malicious script automation. Malicious script automation involves the use of automated scripts to execute harmful activities on the system, networks, or applications without any human intervention. These scripts can perform a wide range of malicious actions, including data theft, system compromise, network infiltration, and disruption of services. Script automation allows attackers to scale their operations and carry out attacks more efficiently and rapidly. These are automated they are automated inside environments such as PowerShell for Windows, which is the PS1 extension, Shell for Linux, and Python, .py, etc. If you've done any CTFs or capture the flags, you will know that we often use .sh or .py files to elevate our privileges to the root level. Threat actor. A threat actor is an individual or a group that poses a risk to an organization's security by conducting malicious activities aimed at compromising systems, stealing data, disrupting operations, or causing harm in various other ways. Threat actors can vary widely in terms of their capabilities, motivations, and tactics. They try to implement advanced persistent threats or APTs, which are prolonged and targeted cyber attacks often conducted by nation state actors to infiltrate networks and remain undetected for long periods. Insider threats. Insider threats involves individuals within an organization who pose a risk to the organization's security by abusing their access privileges. Insiders can be current or former employees, contractors, or business partners who have or had legitimate access to the organization's systems, networks, or data. They may be aware of the vulnerabilities and inner workings of the system. These threats can be intentional or unintentional, and they can cause significant damage in terms of data breaches, financial loss, and reputational harm. Government or a nation as threat actors. Nation states are among the most sophisticated and resourceful threat actors in the cybersecurity landscape. These actors are typically government entities or governments or groups supported by a national government. Their motivations, capabilities, and tactics set them apart from other threat actors such as cybercriminals, hacktivists, or insider threats. Nation state threat actors are often involved in cyber espionage, cyber warfare, and strategic attack aimed at achieving political, economical, or military objectives. Their target is another nation or organization that the government may deem malicious. Hacktivists. Hacktivists are individuals or groups that use hacking techniques to promote political, social, or ideological agendas. Unlike cybercriminals who seek financial gain or nation state actors who pursue strategic national interests, hacktivists are driven by the desire to raise awareness, protest, or bring about change on specific issues. They leverage their technical skills to disrupt services, deface websites, steal and leak information, and launch campaigns that can draw public attention to their cause. Script kiddies. Script kiddies, also known as kiddies, are inexperienced hackers who use pre-made scripts and tools developed by others to launch cyber attacks. They typically lack the technical skills and knowledge to develop their own hacking tools or conduct sophisticated attacks. Despite the lack of expertise, script kiddies can cause significant disruption, especially if they exploit unpatched vulnerabilities or target poorly secured systems. Their motivation lies in the thrill of the hunt or to make a name for themselves. Organized crime. Organized crime groups are highly structured and coordinated entities that engage in a wide range of illegal activities for financial gain. In the context of cybersecurity, these groups have increasingly turned to cybercrime due to the high potential for profit and relatively low risk of detection compared to traditional criminal activities. Their operations are often sophisticated, leveraging advanced techniques and technologies to execute large scale attacks. Hackers. Hackers can be broadly classified into three categories based on their intent, permissions, and activities. Authorized hackers, also known as ethical hackers or white hat hackers, are individuals or groups who are permitted and often employed to identify and fix security vulnerabilities within systems and networks. Their activities are legal and aim to enhance security. Semi-authorized hackers, often referred to as grey hat hackers, operate in a legal and ethical gray area. They may discover and exploit vulnerabilities without explicit permission, but typically have no malicious intent and often report their findings to the affected parties. Lastly, unauthorized hackers or black hat hackers engage in illegal activities and exploit systems and networks for malicious purposes. They often they often operate without permissions and cause harm, such as stealing data, disrupting services, or extorting money. Shadow IT refers to when an organization's employee uses information technology systems, softwares, devices, applications, and services without explicit approval from an organization's IT department. While Shadow IT can offer immediate solutions and enhance productivity, it also introduces significant security risks and compliance challenges. Shadow IT allows employees to quickly implement solutions without waiting for the formal IT approval or support. It also enables rapid innovation and experimentation within teams. On the flip side, it creates roadblocks for the company's IT team. Unapproved tools and services may not adhere to the organization's security policies, leading to vulnerabilities. It is difficult to ensure data privacy and maintain compliance when the data is stored or processed outside the sanctioned environments. It may not integrate well with existing IT infrastructure, leading to inefficiencies and potential data silos. Untracked IT expenditures can also lead to budget overruns and financial inefficiencies. Comparators. Comparators can sometimes act as threat actors. While most businesses compete ethically, some may resort to unethical methods to gain an advantage. These actions can include espionage, sabotage, reputational harm, and other malicious activities aimed at undermining rivals. Some common tactics are phishing and social engineering, malware and ransomware, insider threats, denial of service and distributed denial of service, and exploitation of vulnerabilities. Attack vector. An attack vector refers to the path or means by which a hacker gains unauthorized access to a computer or a network to deliver a malicious payload or achieve some other malicious outcome. Some of the common ones are direct access attack vector. Direct access attack vectors involve physical access to a target's device or network's infrastructure, allowing attackers to bypass many security controls that protect remote access. It also allows physical theft or harm, data theft, password resets, and network access. Wireless attack vectors. Wireless attacks exploit vulnerabilities in wireless communication protocols and devices to gain unauthorized access to networks and data. These attacks are Wi-Fi eavesdropping, setting up unauthorized rogue access points, wireless evil twins, and bluejacking and blue snuffing. Email attack vectors. Email attacks use emails as the delivery method for malicious content or social engineering tactics. They may contain malwares, cause phishing, or impersonate someone. Supply chain attack vectors. Supply chain attacks target the relationship between organizations and their suppliers or service providers to compromise systems and data. It includes attacking managed service providers or MSPs or other third-party services to gain access to client networks or inserting malicious hardware components or firmware into products during manufacturing. Social media attack vectors. Social media attacks exploit social networks to gather information, spread malware, or conduct social engineering. They leak personal data, which inadvertently may lead to a password leak or social engineering attack. Removable media attack vectors. These attacks use devices like USB drives, CDs, and external hard drives to deliver malware or steal data. Cloud attack vectors. Cloud attacks target cloud services and infrastructure, exploiting vulnerabilities in cloud platforms or configurations. Harm to the organization may be caused by misconfigured cloud services, cloud malware, account hijacking, and data breaches. Threat intelligence. Threat intelligence involves collecting, analyzing, and utilizing information about current and potential cyber threats to make informed decisions and strengthen an organization's security posture. It helps an organization anticipate, identify, and respond to cyber threats effectively, thereby reducing the risk of and impacts of attacks. It can be done by open or closed sources. OSINT includes social media, discussion groups, government data, and commercial data. Closed sources or proprietary intelligence needs you to buy it from the individuals or businesses that are in this field. Threats have been analyzed and compiled for ease of understanding and implementation. They can be customized for each organization and help create automated workflows that can automate prevention workflows. Vulnerability databases are databases that compile and document vulnerabilities that researchers find. A popular vulnerability database is CVE, or Common Vulnerabilities and Exposure Database. They also contain patches and severity scoring for the same. Public or private threat intelligence information sharing centers are collaborative platforms where public and private sectors entities share threat intelligence to enhance cybersecurity. These centers facilitate the exchange of information about cyber threats, vulnerabilities, and incidents, allowing participants to better understand and respond to emerging cyber risks. Private information sharing centers need to have extensive resources and deliver fast and good quality information, while public information sharing centers contain otherwise classified information. A major challenge in this field is to deliver fast and good quality information. CTA, or Cyber Threat Alliance, was created to address this issue. Members uploaded threat intelligence and other members verify and score it. It allows members to react faster for high quality information. For security and quickly sharing this information, AIS was created. Automated indicator sharing is a system for the automated exchange of cybersecurity threat indicators between organizations. It enables the real-time sharing of information such as IP addresses, domain names, file hashes, and other indicators of compromise or IOCs to improve collective defense against cyber threats. The primary goal of AIS is to enable organizations to share threat intelligence rapidly and efficiently to enhance their ability to detect and respond to cyber threats. STIX is a standardized language for representing and exchanging cyber threats intelligence. STIX enables organizations to share threat intelligence in a structured and machine-readable format, facilitating automation and interoperability between different security tools and platforms. TAXII is a set of specifications for the automated exchange of cyber threat intelligence. It defines protocols and services for securely exchanging cyber threat information between organizations and security systems. TAXII enables organizations to share threat intelligence using standard protocols and formats, facilitating automation and integration with existing security infrastructure. The dark web is a part of the internet that is not indexed by traditional search engines and requires specialized software configurations or authorization to access. It is often associated with illicit activities such as cybercrime, underground markets, and the exchange of sensitive information. Dark web intelligence refers to the process of collecting, analyzing, and utilizing information sourced from the dark web for various purposes, including cybersecurity, law enforcement, threat intelligence, and business intelligence. Indicators of compromise, or IOCs. IOCs are artifacts or observable behaviors that indicate a system has been compromised or that an attack is ongoing. These indicators are used by cybersecurity professionals to detect, investigate, and respond to security incidents. IOCs come in various forms and can be derived from various sources, such as change in hash values, change in settings, changes to DNS data, uncommon login patterns, spike of read requests to certain files, unusual network activity, and so on. Predictive analysis. Predictive analysis is a branch of data analytics that utilizes historical data, statistical algorithms, machine learning techniques, and other analytical methods to make predictions about future events or outcomes. It involves identifying patterns and trends within datasets to forecast future behavior, trends, or events. It needs data such as DNS queries, traffic patterns, potential vulnerabilities, etc., and more. And a machine learning model is built on the same. It helps us set up an early warning systems and is less dependent on signatures, hence is able to take newer threats into account. Threat maps, also known as cybersecurity maps or security threat maps, are visual representations that display real-time or historical data about cybersecurity threats, attacks, and incidents. These maps provide a graphical overview of the globe or regional cyber threat landscape, highlighting the intensity, frequency, and distribution of cyber attacks across different geographical locations. Threat maps are used by cybersecurity professionals, organizations, and the general public to enhance situational awareness, monitor emerging attacks, and visualize the impact of cyber attacks. Code repositories are often valuable sources of threat intelligence, especially when it comes to understanding the tactics, techniques, and procedures, or TTPs, employed by threat actors. Platforms like GitHub may unknowingly host repositories containing malware samples or malicious code snippets. Analyzing these repositories can provide insights into the behavior and capabilities of different malware families. Although these are usually private, some hackers or attackers, intentionally or unintentionally, make the repositories private, allowing the public to access these repositories. Threat research. Threat research is a dynamic and multidisciplinary field focused on identifying, analyzing, and mitigating cybersecurity threats. Researchers leverage various sources of information, including vendor websites, vulnerability feeds, conferences, academic journals, RFCs, or which is request for comments, local industry groups, social media, and threat feeds to stay informed about the emerging threats and vulnerabilities. Vendor websites. Vendor websites are valuable sources of threat intelligence as they often publish security advisories, bulletins, and updates regarding vulnerabilities discovered in their products or services. These advisories provide detailed information about the nature of the vulnerability, its impact, and available patches or mitigations. Examples include advisories from software vendors such as Microsoft, Adobe, and Oracle, as well as hardware manufacturers like Cisco and Intel. Vulnerability feeds. Vulnerability feeds aggregate information from various sources, including vendor advisories, research reports, and security mailing lists to provide centralized repository of known vulnerabilities and associated data. These feeds are often used by cybersecurity professionals to stay informed about the newly discovered vulnerabilities, exploits, and patches. Common vulnerability feeds include the National Vulnerability Database or NVD, the Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures CVE database, and commercial threat intelligence platforms. Conferences and academic journals. Cybersecurity conferences and academic journals serve as important forums for sharing research findings, discussing emerging threats, and collaborating with peers in the cybersecurity community. Researchers present their work on topics such as malware analysis, intrusion detection, cryptography, and threat intelligence at conferences. Academic journals such as IEEE Security and Privacy and the Journal of Computer Security publish peer-reviewed research articles on various cybersecurity topics, contributing to the advancement of knowledge in the field. RFCs or Request for Comments. RFCs are documents published by the Internet Engineering Task Force or IETF that define standards, protocols, and best security for Internet technologies. Security researchers may refer to RFCs to gain insights into potential security issues, design flaws, or recommended security controls in Internet protocols and technologies. Local industry groups and social media. Local industry groups, cybersecurity forums, and social media platforms play a crucial role in facilitating networking, sharing knowledge, and collaborating among cybersecurity professionals. These platforms provide opportunities for professionals to exchange information, discuss emerging threats, share best practices, and seek advice from peers. Threat feeds. Threat feeds deliver curated lists of known IOCs, threat intelligence, and contextual information about cybersecurity threats. These feeds may include data on malicious IP addresses, domain names, file hashes, URL, and other indicators associated with known threats or attack campaigns. Threat feeds are often used by security operations team to enrich security telemetry, enhance threat detection capabilities, and prioritize incident response efforts. Now let us see some types of vulnerabilities. Zero-day attacks. A zero-day attack exploits a vulnerability that is unknown to the software vendor or has not been patched yet. The term zero-day indicates that developers have 0 days to address and mitigate the vulnerability. These attacks are highly dangerous because they cannot occur without warning and there are no available fixes at the time of the attack. Open permissions. Open permissions refer to improperly configured access controls that allow unauthorized systems to access sensitive data or systems. These often happen when files, directories, or databases are left with permissions that are too broad, such as being accessible to everyone on the network or the internet. Unsecured root account. The root account is the most privileged account on a Unix or Linux system. If this account is not properly secured, it can provide an attacker with full control over the system. Common issues include weak passwords, no password protection, or the use of default credentials. Errors showing too much information. Error messages that display too much information can reveal sensitive data about the system, such as a software version, server configuration, or even the underlying code itself. Attackers can use this information to identify potential vulnerabilities and craft more targeted attacks. Weak encryption. Weak encryption uses algorithms or keys that can be easily broken by attackers. Some examples included outdated encryptions such as the MD5 encryption or SHA-1 encryption, or using short key lengths that do not provide sufficient security. Weak encryption can lead to data breaches where sensitive information is decrypted and accessed by unauthorized parties. Insecure protocols. Insecure protocols such as HTTP, FTP, or Telnet transmit data in plain text, making it easy for attackers to intercept and receive the information. Secure alternatives like HTTPS or SFTPS and SSH should be used to protect the data in transit. Default settings and credentials. Many software and hardware products come with default settings, usernames, and passwords that are well known and can be easily exploited if not changed. Default credentials like admin for username and admin for password are often the first thing the attackers try when attempting to gain unauthorized access. Open ports or services. Open ports and running services can provide entry points for attackers if they are not properly secured. Unnecessary open ports should be closed and unnecessary services should be configured securely. Common exploited open ports include those used by services such as FTP, which is port 21, Telnet, which is port 23, and SMB, which is port 445. Improper patch management. Failure to apply security patches and updates in a timely manner can leave systems vulnerable to known exploits. Proper patch management involves regularly updating software and systems to fix security vulnerabilities and protect against new threats. Legacy platforms. Legacy platforms refer to outdated hardware or software that is no longer supported by the vendor. These platforms may contain unpatched vulnerabilities and lack modern security features, making them attractive targets for attackers. Organizations using legacy systems need to implement compensating controls, or upgrade to more secure solutions. Third party risks. Third party risks refer to the potential security threats and vulnerabilities that arise from the use of external vendors, suppliers, service providers, or partners. These risks can affect an organization's security, data integrity, and operational continuity, which is why additional security is required whenever a third party is involved. These threats are not necessarily caused by attackers, they can stem from human error as well. System integration risks. System integration risk refers to the potential threats and vulnerabilities that arise when combining different software applications, systems, or technologies to work together as a unified solution. This process can introduce various challenges and risks that can impact the security, functionality, and performance of the integrated system. Issues such as compatibility issues, data security, and vendor dependency may give rise to vulnerabilities, attacks, denial of service, and performance degradation. It also makes it easier for an insider to use the system for malicious activities. Lack of vendor support. Lack of vendor support is a significant risk that organizations face when relying on external vendors for software, hardware, or services. Since vendors are the only ones that can fix the product, they need to know about the problem in case it arises and should be motivated enough to fix it. Supply chain risk. Supply chain risks, which may be related to hardware and software, encompass various potential threats and vulnerabilities that can impact the security, integrity, and reliability of an organization's IT infrastructure. These risks arise from the complex and interconnected nature of global supply chains, where multiple vendors, suppliers, and service providers contribute to the production and delivery of hardware and software products. Here are some of the ways in which a supply chain is at risk. Counterfeit hardware and software. Counterfeit products may be inserted into the supply chain, leading to the use of substandard or malicious components that can compromise system integrity and security. Malware and backdoors. Malicious actors may introduce malware backdoors or other malicious code into the software or hardware during manufacturing or distribution process, allowing them to exploit these vulnerabilities later. Third party vulnerabilities. Third party vendors or suppliers might have inadequate security practices, making them susceptible to cyber attacks that can propagate through the supply chain and affect the end organization. Supply chain disruptions. National disasters, geopolitical tensions, or economic instability, or other disruptions can impact the availability and timely delivery of critical hardware and software components. Outsourcing. Outsourcing code development involves hiring external vendors or contractors to create, maintain, or update softwares. While it can offer benefits such as cost savings, access to specialized skills, and faster project completion, it also introduces several risks such as data breaches, malicious code, bad quality code, and more. To avoid this, code stored on the cloud or in-house that needs to be accessed must be isolated and be accessed over a secure channel, such as a VPN or a cloud-based access. The code must be tested for any vulnerabilities and backdoors and make sure that the compliance policies are being followed. Data storage. Data is a valuable asset of any organization. Hence, the need to store that data in a secure environment is essential. We need to apply the proper security steps for the types of data, be it customer information, AI models, or more. If the data is stored on a cloud platform, then it may require encryption, since doing so may prevent the data from being accessed by a third party, and encryption and decryption may take additional time, resources, and management. We also need to make sure that the transfer of data in and out of the platform is encrypted and secure. Impacts of vulnerability. Data loss. Data loss occurs when critical information is deleted, corrupted, or rendered inaccessible. This can result from hardware failures, software bugs, human errors, or cyber attacks such as ransomware. The impact of data loss is significant as it can disrupt business operations, hinder decision making, and lead to the loss of valuable intellectual property. In some cases, data loss can also result in regulatory fines if sensitive information, such as personal data, is not adequately protected, violating data protection laws. Identity theft. Identity theft happens when attackers steal personal information such as social security numbers, credit card details, or login credentials to impersonate the victim. The consequences of identity theft are severe, as victims can suffer financial losses, damage to the credit ratings, and legal issues. For organizations, the theft of customer identities can lead to a loss of trust and potential lawsuits, along with the cost of notifying affected individuals and offering credit monitoring services. Financial loss. Financial loss is a direct impact of many cybersecurity vulnerabilities. It can arise from various sources, including fraud, theft of financial information, operation disruptions, and the cost associated with responding to security breaches. For businesses, financial losses can also include lost revenue due to downtime, expenses related to restoring affected systems, and potential fines for failing to comply with regulatory requirements. Additionally, significant financial loss can threaten the viability of smaller companies. Reputational impacts. Reputational damage is one of the most challenging impacts of a cybersecurity breach to recover from. When a company experiences a data breach, it can lose the trust of customers, partners, and stakeholders. This loss in confidence can lead to a decline in customer loyalty, negative media coverage, and a tarnished brand image. In the long term, reputational damage can lead in reduced market shares, decreased stock value, and difficulties in attracting new business and talent. Availability loss. Availability loss occurs when systems, applications, or data are inaccessible to users, often due to cyber attacks such as distributed denial of service attacks, malware, or technical failures. This can severely disrupt business operations, leading to downtime and lost productivity. For critical services, availability loss can have dire consequences, such as hindering emergency response efforts or disrupting essential services like healthcare and finance. Ensuring high availability is crucial to maintain business continuity and customer satisfaction. Threat hunting. Threat hunting is a proactive cybersecurity strategy aimed at identifying and mitigating threats before they can cause significant harm. It involves the systematic search for indicators of compromise or IOCs within an organization's network. It involves three steps: intelligence fusion, efficient data fusing, effective data fusing, and cybersecurity maneuvers. Intelligence fusing refers to the process of integrating data from multiple sources to create a comprehensive view of potential threats. By using this diverse set of information, threat hunters can gain a more complete understanding of the threat landscape, including the TTPs used by adversaries. Fusing the data involves the technical and analytical process of integrating and correlating different data sets to uncover insights and detect potential threats. This requires advanced tools and techniques to process large volumes of data, including aggregation and processing of data using statistics or AI/ML models. Cybersecurity maneuvers refer to the actions taken based on the insights gained from intelligence fusion and data fusion to mitigate and neutralize threats. These maneuvers include both defensive and offensive strategies such as isolation, patching, deception, threat emulation, and more. Vulnerability scans. A vulnerability scan identifies and addresses potential security weaknesses within an organization's systems and networks. There are two main types of scans: intrusive and non intrusive. Intrusive scans actively interact with the network or system components to identify vulnerabilities by mimicking an attack, which can potentially disrupt normal operations. In contrast, non intrusive scans are more passive, examining the network and system configurations without sending payloads that could cause disruptions. Both types help identify vulnerabilities such as outdated software, misconfigurations, and open ports. Once vulnerabilities are identified, vulnerability research is conducted to understand their potential impact and the appropriate remediation steps. This involves consulting databases like CVE or Common Vulnerabilities and Exposure Database to find detailed information about every identified issue. Reviewing vulnerability scan logs is essential to ensure that all detected vulnerabilities are addressed and prioritized based on their severity and relevance to the organization's environment. Handling false positives and negatives is a crucial aspect for vulnerability scanning. False positives, where the scan incorrectly identifies a vulnerability, can lead to wasted resources and unnecessarily alarm. Conversely, false negatives, where real vulnerabilities are missed, can leave the organization exposed to potential threats. To mitigate these issues, organizations must define their scanning process and employ thorough validation techniques. Configuration review is also integral to the process, ensuring that the system settings and configurations align with the security best practices and that any deviations are corrected promptly. This comprehensive approach to vulnerability scanning helps maintain robust security and mitigate risk effectively. CM, Security Information and Event Management, or CM, is a comprehensive approach to cybersecurity management that combines security information management and security event management. CM collect, analyze, and report on security data from various sources to provide a holistic view of an organization's security posture and to facilitate proactive threat detection and response. Syslog is a standardized protocol used to send system logs or event messages from various devices and software to a centralized log server. CM systems often use syslog to gather logs from different network devices such as servers, applications, and security appliances. These logs contain crucial information about system activities, security events, and network traffic, serving as the foundation data for CM analysis. CM data encompasses the wide range of logs and event data collected from various sources within the network. This includes logs from firewall, IPS or IDS systems, antivirus software, operating systems, and applications. CM systems aggregate this data, normalize it into a consistent format, and store it for analysis. This centralized data repository allows for comprehensive monitoring and correlation of events to detect potential security incidents. Security monitoring in CM involves continuously overseeing the collected data to identify suspicious activities and potential threats. CM systems use predefined rules and algorithms to analyze the data in real time, looking for patterns and anomalies that may indicate security breaches, policy violations, or other malicious activities. Effective security monitoring enables organizations to detect and respond to threats promptly, minimizing the potential damage. Security reports generated by CM systems provide detailed insights into the security status of the organization. These reports can be customized to highlight various aspects of security, such as incident summaries, compliance status, threat trends, and system vulnerabilities. Regularly reviewing these reports helps security teams to understand the threat landscape, track the effectiveness of security measures, and ensure compliance with regulatory requirements. Analyzing the data in a scheme context involves deep diving into the connected logs and events to uncover underlying security issues. This analysis can be performed using various techniques, including correlation, where multiple data points are linked to identify complex attack patterns, and behavioral analysis, which detects deviations from normal activity. Advanced CM systems also leverage machine learning and artificial intelligence to enhance the accuracy and efficiency of data analysis, enabling the identification of emerging threats and reducing false positives. Security orchestration, automation, and response, or SOAR systems, complement CM by automating and streamlining the response to detecting threats. While CM focuses on detecting and analyzing security events, SOAR tools help manage and automate the subsequent actions. This includes incident response workflows, threat intelligence enrichment, and automated remediation tasks. By integrating CM with SOAR, organizations can enhance their ability to respond to incidents swiftly and effectively, reducing the time and effort required to mitigate threats and minimizing the impact of security incidents. Penetration testing. Penetration testing or pen testing is a simulation of a cybersecurity attack done under some conditions to better understand the vulnerabilities of and security of a system. It is similar to vulnerability scanning, except that vulnerabilities are exploited. Pen testing is often a compliance mandate from customers, business partners, or the government. A pen test involves a document called the Rules of Engagement or ROE. The ROE is a crucial document that outlines the boundaries and expectations of a pen test. It protects both the client and the penetration tester. It covers the scope, background information and test parameters, levels of vulnerability, types and schedule of the test, and more. A pen tester may or may not have any information regarding the systems. Testers may go in blind or with full knowledge about the systems, but often they go with a mix in order to focus on certain systems or applications. Reconnaissance. Reconnaissance, also known as footprinting, is the first stage of penetration testing. It's essentially the intel gathering phase, where the pen tester aims to collect as much information as possible about the target system or network. This information lays the groundwork for the entire pen testing process by providing a deeper understanding of the attack surface and potential vulnerabilities. The goals of reconnaissance is to plan the attack by identifying target systems and network architectures, discover potential vulnerabilities, and gather useful information. Passive footprinting. This involves gathering information from a publicly available sources without interacting with the target directly. It's like discreetly observing your target from far away. Here are some common passive footprinting methods. Search engine queries. Using search engines like Google or specialized security tools like Maltico or Spiderfoot to find information about the target organization, its network infrastructure, and even employee details. Social media. It involves scouring the organization's social media presence, such as websites, LinkedIn profiles, and more, for clues about the technologies used, employee roles, and potential security misconfigurations. DNS records. Pen testers may check publicly available DNS records to identify subdomains, IP addresses, and the organization's internet presence. Public repositories. This involves looking for code repositories like GitHub for any public code that might reveal information about the target systems or applications. War diving or war flying. While not as common these days due to widespread Wi-Fi availability, war driving and war flying involve physically driving or flying around an area with the tool that can detect wireless networks. This can reveal the presence of unsecured networks or those with weak encryption. Nowadays, this is mostly used with drones since they can be controlled remotely. Active footprinting. This approach involves directly interacting with the target network to gather information. It's like actively probing your target to see how it reacts by using ping commands, port scans, banner grabbing, DNS spoofing, and more. Security teams. When we talk about cybersecurity, various specialized teams work together to enhance an organization's defense mechanisms against potential threats. Each team has a unique role and set of responsibilities aimed at different aspects of society. Red teams are composed of ethical hackers who simulate real world attacks on an organization's infrastructure. Their primary objective is to identify and exploit vulnerabilities, uncovering weaknesses in security defenses. Red team activities include reconnaissance, exploitation, lateral movement, and documenting and recommendation. Blue teams are responsible for defending an organization's IT environment from attacks. They focus on monitoring, detecting, and responding to security incidents. Their duties include continuous monitoring, incident response, threat hunting, vulnerability management, and patch management. Purple teams bridge the gap between red and blue teams, fostering collaboration to enhance overall security. The goal of a purple team is to integrate the offensive tactics of red team with the defensive strategies of the blue team. This involves communication and sharing of results, joint exercises to improve security and feedback loops. White teams are responsible for overseeing and managing cybersecurity testing activities, ensuring that the rules and guidelines are followed. They play a neutral role and are involved in planning and coordination, rules of engagement, monitoring compliance, and evaluation and reporting. Configuration management. Configuration management is a critical process in IT and cybersecurity, ensuring that systems are set up consistently and operate as intended. It involves maintaining the integrity and traceability of the configuration of network devices, servers, and other IT resources. When we talk about configuration management, there are often a lot of diagrams involved. Some of the diagrams are as follows. Network diagrams. They provide a visual representation of the network infrastructure, including devices such as routers, switches, firewalls, and their connections. These diagrams are essential for understanding the network topology, planning network changes, and troubleshooting issues. Physical data center layout diagrams map out the arrangement of servers, racks, cooling systems, power supplies, and other infrastructure within the data center. These diagrams help in space planning, power cooling and management, and maintenance. Device diagrams provide detailed information about individual devices within the network, such as routers, switches, and servers. Baseline configuration. A baseline configuration is a documented and approved set of specifications for systems and network devices. It serves as a reference point for future changes and ensures consistency across the infrastructure. Key elements include standard settings, security configurations, and compliance. Standard naming conventions. Standard naming conventions ensure that devices, services, and other IT resources are named consistently, making them easier to identify and manage. IP schema. An IP schema is a structured plan for assigning IP addresses within a network. It ensures efficient IP address allocation, reduces conflicts, and simplifies network management. An IP schema makes it easier to manage, control, and identify all components in the network.